Greetings Starfighters, welcome to the second part of the Necromunda table build. I've had a good week. Mostly this week's been sourcing parts and coming up with ideas on the first couple of tiles I'm going to build. The model I showed you last week, the kind of like the work in progress mock-up model is done, so we'll give you a closer look at that. And I shall show you, take you through some of the parts I've got on the table as well, and in some of the boxes. And we'll go through and we'll have a chat about what the first tile is going to be. So, join me down on the craft box. Okay guys, so here we are. This is the proof of concept model, all completed and weathered up. I haven't had any transfers or anything like that to it yet, because or graffiti. Because this is, as I say, this is like a proof of concept model. I'm not entirely sure this will be part of the overall build. But, you know, it was just one to give you an idea of how I'm going to weather, more of a colour studies, that kind of thing. Now, I quite like the grey. I think the rust and the dirt looks really good on the grey and really good on the white. And the yellow's okay. I may just keep that more down to more industrial settings and vehicles and that kind of cranes and that kind of thing in the build. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to go quite heavy with the rust in Necromunda. Only because I see Necromunda at the actual place, especially the Underhive, as more of a sort of lawless, wild, westy kind of thing. And I want to get that kind of monochrome that you see in old Wild West towns, because they were using like wood primarily, and obviously they didn't have lots of colours of paint and stuff like that. You know, when you see these views of like a Wild West town, they're all pretty much the same tone. They're all brown with a bit of colour here and there, with like for signage and that kind of thing. And usually like the bordello or the saloon have a bit of colour in it. Everything else is kind of dull. So I kind of want to evoke that with the models. But with a few flashes of colour. So I think I think we'll stick with the grey and the white. The yellow, as I said, yellow will be more for key models. I'll pick that up anyway. So let's put that down to one side. Okay, let's put that down and see what I actually got on the craft box. So on the craft box is this bad boy. Now this, for all you plumbers out there, you probably know this is what goes inside your cistern in your toilet. It's flush mechanism for your toilet. That pulls down when you pull your chain. I don't know if it goes this way. You pull your chain, that goes, and then all the water, and something happens, plumbery, that kind of thing. I saw this. This was in my local B&Q. That would be like Home Depot in America. That's your version. It's our version called B&Q over in the UK. It was £4. It was £4 for this piece. It came with this little cap here. But I'm thinking this could be some kind of reclamator, you know. So get rid of. I'll take this out, this section, so that'll be empty. I'm thinking put some kind of jaws, kind of rotating spikes or something in there, and then some platforms up the side and stuff, and possibly a crane up on this section here. Use one of the one from the galvanic servo haulers. I think I've got one of those knocking around on a sprue. And I'm thinking this could be, then the crane would lift up the dead bodies, essentially, chuck them in here, and they get pulped and processed, and then there's some pipes coming out, sort of going off into the Underhive. So that's what I'm going to use for that. I'm going to take this bottom bit off here, because it's quite round. I want to mount it. Mounted something, and I found this. This is an old piece of scenery I started, which never went anywhere. So that's going to sort of sit on the table like so, and then that will fit on. I'm thinking like that. Have a couple of platforms like this going up, so we can have some actions and ladders and that railings, that kind of thing. I think that would work out rather nice. So that's what the plan is for that. So I've got my wood cut as well. So I've got my wooden boards cut. So that will essentially look bit like, I'm thinking that sort of thing. I don't want anything really butted up too much to the edges. I will have a few things, so I'm thinking that kind of, you know, if we come in 50 mil and then 50 mil here, like so, that will sit on top like that, like so. Now that always automatically gives us a huge building there. So I want to put something else on the tile, just to give it, to add to that height and not make it so stark. So I've got this fantastic piece of polystyrene here, which I'm going to cut down, and that's going to fit on the tile as well. I'll probably come in about here actually, so it'll probably be about here, like that. And then I'm going to, or possibly even come in like that, or somewhere. It'll be around here somewhere. I'll have just this sort of barricade going, you know, this piece here, and then I can then build up a structure onto here as well. And I'm thinking some kind of snack bar, on some kind of food slop bar will go on there, because this is like a food reclamation plant. I'm thinking it'd be quite funny to have like a little snack bar as well, selling, you know, like your rats on a stick and your croc burgers. Whereas this thing's here recycling humans and going off to your protein bars and your protein slurry. The cool thing about this piece of, let's move this out of the way. The cool thing about this piece of polystyrene is it fits my newly 3D printed part. This was completely serendipitous. This was not planned. So this here and this here, these are some 3D prints that I've done. And I've printed them out on my Lego Mars. And they're 50mm by 50mm, well, 2" by 2" they are, but 50.8 millimeters square. So floor tiley pieces like this, and I've got one with a vent in it, and then I've got like these, which I thought would be great for kind of for wall sections. They're kind of based on one of the original Necromunda bulkheads. And weirdly, I didn't measure, none of this was measured. I put this up the other day, and it fits along there perfectly, like so. I don't know if you can see that. So that would be great to dress a couple of sides of the of this bit of polystyrene here. All my 3D prints, all my files, I've put up on Thingiverse. So if anybody wants to download these and print them off themselves, feel free. The link is in the diddly d in the down below. So the link to what, yeah, it's totally free. Just download, and any thing I 3D print and design will be in my Thingiverse folder. So it's there for you. It's all free. Please download them if you want to use them. As I say, this was done on an Lego Mars. It's a resin printer, so I'll get quite a fine print out of them. So these are actually going to be resin cast. So my silicon turned up yesterday. So my tiles, my bulkheads. These will go, and then I'm going to cast them in silicon, just because it's quicker. My silicon sets in like 20 minutes, whereas these take, for two of them, take about 45 minutes to an hour to print, and then I have to clean them and then set them with my UV lamp. So it actually works out cost-wise about the same, but time-wise, it's probably a lot quicker just to bash them out of resin. I'll show you some other bits I've printed as well. So I've got some, what do you call those? Columns, not columns. They go to, you know what I mean. They go on the side of buildings like this. You know, they prop up buildings. If anyone can remember what they're called, stick them in the comments, because I've completely forgotten. I do know what they're called, but I've completely forgotten. So yes, I printed up some of those. They've got some little bits of detail on them. They'd just be good for decorating. If I bring back my toilet thing, you know, have those going around the bottom like so. Just add to that kind of 40k aesthetic and give this a little bit of less as a plumbing part, more of a 40k element. What else have I got? Oh, I made some vents. So I've got these little vents here that can be stuck on in places, and they are also, you can knock out the backs of these, and I've got some plumber's pipes. Now this is 15 mil. Here we go. It's a 50 mil plumber's pipe, and that slots in like so as well. So if let's get one of these bends. These are copper piping bends with a little bit of that plastic tube in it, and they just fit in like that, and they make really cool sort of junctions for pipes and that kind of thing. So I think we'll have a couple of those here on this on there, with some pipes coming out, going into the ground, that kind of thing. And then the last couple of things I built, printed was this section here. You can see some striations in this one. I think it was a bit too cold when I was printing, using my 3D printer. But, you know, this is the underhive. That'll just come up, when I paint it, that'll just come up as like rust and degradation, so that's not bad. But what these are for is, if I get my plumbers, bring back my plumber's pipe, again, they slot in like that, and that gives me some column bases. So when I'm doing platforms and stuff, I'll have something to fit on top of there. So that's those. That's that. Now these things, sorry, I've seen these. You've seen these a couple of times. So these are the one section here is actually taken from a Hearst Arts moulds. I'll put a link in the description below for that mould. And what I've done several casts. I've mounted them to some Foamex board. I had to do some filling here and there, and I've made up these sort of platform sizes, different shapes and sizes, and these are also going to be moulded and cast in resin as well, so I can cast whole sections, and I'll have them ready to go when I need them. And I've also got some little sort of balustrades here as well, so these will go up. These will go onto the sides like that. They've already got holes in them, so a bit of plastic rod in between the holes, and that'll make some kind of barriers as well. So, as I say, they're all on the Thingiverse. Please feel free to download and use them as you wish. If you ever want to download them and cast them for yourselves and start making money out of them, yeah, perhaps a little tip here and there wouldn't go amiss. And what else then? So I spoke about doing like a kind of snack bar on this tile. So what I've got is these things here. Now these were, I think I got from Hobbycraft in the UK. I got them sort of January time last year. So they were like really cheap. I think like 50p in a sale. I think they were some kind of decorations. You hang them. I think they were. These are meant to be letters. I think these are meant to be letter I's. But you know, I just saw them and thought Inquisition. So I packed up a couple of these. Now, one of them, they've all got lights in them, but one of them has actually got the lights of the batteries on them. Yeah. So, is it that one? Ah, there we go. So this one, we'll get rid of this. So I'm thinking this will be the centre of my snack bar. Now, what I'll do, I quite like this. It kind of reminds me like some kind of like shuttering. So I'm going to cut a bit out, put some doors, and then I'm thinking have something at the top and bottom and make it something like this, but this is a bit too big. These put flower pots on these. This is what you put your water in. But they do them smaller. And if I get some that's the same as the top and bottom, what I'm going to do is that'll be cut out, and then that'll go on the bottom like that. That will go on the top, kind of that kind of thing. And it kind of look a little bit like a hamburger kind of thing. Obviously, I'll add some metal plates and stuff to Necromunda it up a bit. But that's kind of my idea for that. This good thing is this one's already got the lights in it. So with that cut out and this bit removed, I can have someone in there, and it all light up already. I think that would be really cool to have that all lit up inside there. So there we go. Or I might even do it from the bottom upwards. Actually, we'll see. I'm not sure. We'll see. And these bits, when I cut these out, I think these would be great for ladders, or just again columns for propping up platforms and stuff. But I'll keep those. I certainly won't throw those away when I'm taking these apart. So good find. Good find. I've got some more lights here. These were picked up in the pound shop around Christmas time. Some nice red LEDs. I think they will be great. I'll possibly put some LEDs in this model here. It's quite big. I'm not sure how easy it's going to be, but I'm thinking perhaps drill some holes up here, either side, like 4. So I'll get 8 lights. It's a bit like the red lights on a tower for sort of aeroplanes crashing into them. So I think that would look quite smart. And then perhaps I might put the other bunch in here for a bit of an ominous red glow in the sort of, in the kind of like the mincing processing plant. Anyway, this bit will go. I'll get rid of this. But again, I'll keep this. This is a great piece. So we'll keep that. But the first thing to do will be to hack this off, get it mounted to this, get this mounted to the board, and start dressing it. So that's next. Alrighty. Okay, so I've got myself some tape here, some masking tape. I'm going to just mark off where I want to cut this. But then again, let's thinking about it. Let's have a look. Yeah, I want to come around on that line there. So I might be, I might not need this. Let's give it a go and see how we get on. That must sound good. All right, here we are so far. A little way into the build. So I thought I'd give you a bit of an update on some parts I've used, what I've done, parts I've used, and that kind of thing. So let's start off down the bottom here. I think you remember I said I'd use this this piece here as a base for it. Well, I actually ended up chopping it down, making it a square, because when it was the rectangle size, it was just taking up far too much of the overall tile. So that's been chopped down into a nice little square little building there. The base for the main Reclamator piece there. So I've used part of the plumbing piece there. I've just chopped it in half and then notched it around, put it on there to give the this piece something more stable to bolt onto. Started adding some support pylons in. So this is a 3D printed part that I've got. And these are mini toy telescopes. I've just I've pulled one of the sections off and just glued it around this area here. And then they will be glued in there. And then I made up another little support pipe there. That's from those drinking straws you can get in pound shops or the dollar store, this sort of plasticky, you can actually, there you go, there's some more of it there. Those sort of plastic drinking straws you can get. I've actually run out of them now. Well, I've got a few bits left over, but I've actually run out a lot of these connectors, so I've got to wait for the shops to open up and get a bit of stocking. So yeah, because I'm out of those. So unless anyone knows where I can get them for about £1 online, pop a comment down the bottom for me. That'd be lovely. Okay, so moving on to the main part of the building is the Reclamator itself. So I've got one of the cranes from the servo haulers on the top there. I've just cut down the base a little bit and made it round so it fits on top of that section there. The white here is some baking soda and some super glue just to rust it up a bit, give it a bit of a rusty texture. Moving over to the actual Reclamator itself, these parts I've had for ages. These are connects, some big connect cogs.
I've used one of the tubes from these plastic straws. That runs right through the middle there. And then these two bits here are some, sorry, you probably didn't see them. That there and that there are, again, some 3D printed parts I had left over because I printed them to go into here. So those pipes would go into and, you know, would finish them off nicely. And so that's going to be like, so that's kind of with the crane would bring along like a grab handful of bodies and dump them in there, and I guess what that's the initial grinding up there. This part here, if you remember from the previously, I said I was going to take it out and use it, but I haven't. I'll fit it in there. It's not glued, so I can pull it out, and I want to put a bit of mesh in here as well, and then I can drop some lights in here as well. I'm thinking some red lights in there would look pretty sweet, actually. We'll move around to this side. Again, some 3D printed parts here for the pipes to go into. These are some copper bends you can pick up in any good hardware store or even some bad hardware stores. 50mm pipes running all the way down to the ground, and then some more 3D printed sort of terminal parts there. These here, they are those bits there. So they just slot over the pipe and they give you that kind of big pipe connector look to that. So as we come around, we've got some more of those party straws. Again, one of the little 3D printed connectors going in there. And then the reclamator itself is glued straight onto the top there. And then I've got some more 3D printed columns there to go on the side, just to, you know, add a bit of detail to the build. So swing around. We got the block of polystyrene on here. I've started to decorate it up with some bulkheads. These are resin casts of a 3D print original. I've got a few more to do and print them off and then stick them on. And then I'll put something on the top there as well, some mesh or something. And then with that, this pipe here will then connect to it. That shoots out the side there. Again, more 3D printed parts, more pipe, more bends, straight down, dunk into another terminus there. This isn't glued yet. This can be taken off, but this isn't glued because I need to do something down here. Another column. So you know, some walkways. This isn't the part I've got the bit, but it's about half of that. So that's going to be like that, little platform there, and then I'll have one here as well, and then they'll go down and down onto there. So you can run around, and then that could connect to another tile when we're done. So yeah, finishing off wise, I've got to do some more tiles, print them off, put some ladders on here and here, glue this pipe back in there, some mesh to go in there and some kind of lighting, and then on the floor, some tiles here and there. I've marked out a grid. It's not necessary. It just helps me with the placement of stuff, that's all. And then, you know, did some Mod Podge and baking soda on this here just to give it a bit of grime, a bit of rust, a few more detail parts here and there. I'll go through the bits box and add a few more detail parts there. So there we go. Okay, I am calling this done. Barring a bit of sand and some texturing with some Mod Podge, yep, I'm calling this one done. I could tinker with it for many, many more hours and many more days, but I don't think that'll get us anywhere. So let's have a quick closer look, see what we got up to, and see what we've done. So I've added in these railings here on top of the walkways here and here. The railings, again, these are 3D printed elements. The holes are already in them, and then I've just glued them on, then slotted some one or 1.5mm plastic rod through them, and I make quite cool railings. Go around. Yep, we've put a top on this section here that I can add some more. I might add a few more bits and bobs too, but I don't know. I mean, you know, we do have to put figures on this at some point, and you know, they do have to move around unimpeded a little bit, so maybe not. Move down. Yep, all the bulkheads are done. the ladders are done on there. Again, that's another file I whipped up today. That'll be with everything else on the Thingiverse site. Go over a bit more detail on there. The pipe's all glued in on there. That's all done. Platforms have been added, so we can get someone up the top there. Ladder down, platform there, ladder down, and then onto this walkway here, and ladder down. And that's all done as well. Crane sits nicely up on the top there. Mesh has been added to this section here. This is not glued in. I'm going to leave it removable so I can put some kind of lighting in there. I really like this section to sort of glow red and be quite ominous as well. That's the only, I've not put any actual installed lighting on this tile, but I have whipped up this little lighting section here. I might make a few of these and we can have them scattered around the tiles here and there, and they will add to the tiles that I don't put any sort of dedicated lighting to. So, up next, I guess, is a little bit of texturing with some baking soda and some Mod Podge and some sand, and then onto painting. This properly chuffed. You know, as I said previously, I could tinker with this constantly, but you've got to draw a line somewhere. I'm drawing it here, so next stage is to get some paint on this bad boy, bit of texturing, and then start on tile 2, I guess. I still think the idea of getting a magnet in here, I'll probably build something out just in there to place it so it's in the middle, so then it will spin around on its central axis and be a bit safer, because it's a bit wobbly, even though built perfectly, well, to the instructions as it were, still a bit wobbly, but you know, it's going to be great. Favourite parts of the model, I guess? I mean, I like the whole model. I think it's come together well. I'm really pleased with the this pipe here, actually, weirdly. I think it's because I've added these sort of pipe breaks in between. Just gives the pipes a little bit more detail. Wish I'd added them to there, but, you know, I've got another 8 tiles at least. I'm sure I can add a few more bits to them. Really like the way the little barrier railings came out. I thought they were cool, very cool, and the little piping underneath. This is Lego, by the way, Binacle or Technic Lego or something like that. So that's a bit of Lego as well. So yeah, really, really, really pleased with this. I think it's going to look really smart painted up. Not got a totally 100% idea of colours for this thing. I mean, primarily it's going to be rusty and brown and chipped and nasty and oily and scrudgy. But I'm not sure what colour to do the replicator. Do I do it grey to make it quite, you know, quite innocuous? Do I do it yellow and keep with that kind of industrial vibe? Or do I go red because it's technically a Mechanicum building? Don't know. See how we go. Might even do it white. I don't know, because if I do it white, there we go. That's why that needs a magnet. If I do it white, and I've got some chunks of flesh and nastiness in there, I can do some nice spats around the edges here as well. So possibly a dull white. It'll be like an off-white. Possibly a bone colour. Maybe. We'll see. But there we go, guys. Really pleased about this. Any comments? Stick them below. Again, the link to the Thingiverse folder with all of my 3D files also down below. That'll obviously get updated as I add more as the project goes on. I'm sure I'll be adding lots more 3D prints to that folder. If you like what I'm doing here, please smash the like button, give us a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of this project, please subscribe and hit the bell notification to hear more. So I'll catch you in the next one. Take care, carry on building. If you've got any suggestions, by the way, for next tiles, smash them downstairs down in the comment section below. I'm thinking tile 2 will be like a hab tile, but we'll see how we get on with that. I think we'll get that one out of the way first, because, you know, people in the Unhive, they've got to live somewhere. Okay, guys, you take care, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.